You're listening to the Kicking It with Colette podcast. This is a podcast where I bring you into the conversation happening in my head. I'm not a theologian, scholar, or philosopher, just a somewhat rational, thinking human being. The thoughts presented in this podcast are my own. I don't consider this to be faith-based podcast, but I am a follower of Jesus Christ, so that inherently influences everything I do. There's no hidden agenda here. The purpose is to share my thoughts, make you challenge what you see and hear in culture, and inspire you to exercise your basic human right, the right to think. So let's kick it.
I is here.
As promised, on this season of Kicking It with Colette, I will be sharing the mic. And today, I have a very special guest with me, my sister.
It's me, Christen.
Hi, people. Okay, so what I'm doing on season 2, so my audience can kind of get a feel for who you are. I got a question for you, a little icebreaker question.
Okay, let's hear it.
Now, you remember back in the day, the show Made that was on MTV? Like when people...
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I used to like that show. I especially watched it when I was having a bad day because some of those people were a hot mess. And if I was having a bad day, I'm like, well, at least I can run. And this girl wants to be a soccer star and she can't even run. So that's terrible. But anywho.
I'm glad you explained because I was going to ask you, how did that make your day better by watching Made? But okay.
Oh, because everybody was always a bigger mess than I was.
Oh, okay. That feels like 16 and pregnant, but okay.
Oh,
who said that? Not me.
Jay. I never really watched that. Anyway, back to the question. So my question is, if you could be made into anything, what would it be? Now, this could be past or present. This could be like 16-year-old you, or this could be like right now you. It's up to you.
Oh my goodness. So I guess for right now me, possibly even 16-year-old me, maybe like a news reporter, an anchor. But not at, your local radio stations. Like I would want to be on Good Morning America or the Today Show, something big.
You like Hoda or something.
Yeah, I want to get dressed up every day and I want to talk.
Okay. All right, that's cool.
And maybe tell you a little something relevant because on the news now, if you watch some of those shows, it's very little news.
Very true.
It's a lot of just people getting up on a platform and talking, and I totally think I could do that.
Yeah, especially the news station that rhymes with a box. But anywho,
no, I'm not even talking about them. That's a whole another story.
Yeah, that's another podcast. Not even going there. Okay. So today we're gonna talk about Bruno.
No.
Yes, we're gonna talk about Bruno. So just FYI, people, there will be spoilers. So
spoilers.
Listen at your own discretion. We're talking about Encanto.
The
Family Madrigal. Where should we start?
I don't know. This is your show. I thought you had a layout.
I mean, I do did kinda, but you're making me nervous.
Don't be nervous.
All right, I'll just start with just a kind of overview of the movie.
Yeah, that's a good starting point. Maybe for those of them who have not seen it, but I'm sure.
And if you're okay with spoilers, because it's happening. Okay. So the movie Encanto is out on Disney now. It's on Disney Plus, and I know the music was written by Lin-Manuel Miranda. And if you listen to season 1, I love me some Hamilton, right? So I was all about
Hamilton.
Encanto. Yes. Don't make me start singing because I totally will. Okay. So yeah, so Encanto is about a family. I believe they're in Colombia. So it's a Latin family. And did you say hold on a second?
No, I said yeah. I was agreeing with Colombia. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah. So it's a family, and they have magical powers. Like when each child gets to a certain age,
5.
Oh, it's 5. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, when each child gets to 5, they receive a special gift from their house, and their house is magical. Is that what it is?
Casita?
Okay.
Casita.
Right. So they each get a magical power, and they use their gift to help the community that lives around them, because the people had to flee because some foolishness was happening in their country. They never really got into that, but
I'm pretty sure it was
obviously,
probably a real war. A lot of things are going on over there. A real what did they call, like, a local war kind of skirmish type thing?
yeah,
Unrest. It was unrest in Colombia.
civil unrest. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
we'll go with that.
right. So the family, they fled. I was like, that's the past tense of flew. They fled from
Flu.
their country, and it was Abuela and her husband, and the three babies were just born. Unfortunately, Abuela's husband sacrifices himself so that everyone else can get away.
However, they
And
didn't flee. They didn't flew.
what?
But when he sacrificed himself, they stood there and watched him sacrifice himself in the movie.
Well, yeah. But it was in the midst. It's in the midst of the flightery. I'm a professional.
So professional.
So yeah, but see, now this makes people really go back and watch it so you see who was
I
right.
done threw you all off, my bad.
You did. Anyway, so the family, so they fled. Abuela had 3 children. Obviously, she wasn't abuela yet, because abuela means grandmother, but the woman, the matriarch of the family, she had the
I
3
think her
children.
name was Alma. I could have made that up, but I think
you
it was
did.
Alma.
Okay, so when the husband died, a special miracle happened, and they received this magic. They got the candle became magic, and then the house was magic, and then magic happened, and here we are.
Yes. And so I guess Encanto after that picks up with the family
Oh, you talk
who
about the
are
characters.
inhabiting this magical house.
Yes.
And that's what we're going to discuss.
Yes. We can start with the characters in each of their gifts. And it's interesting family dynamics too. The family, you know what? It's not interesting. It's way too familiar. Way too familiar.
Hence why everyone loves this, because everyone has one of these people in their family.
Yeah.
Or can recognize some type of character trait.
Yes, definitely so. And I like how the family was Latino, and I like how they had like little nuanced things in there related to like
Yes.
culture. Like there's one part with the main character. Oh gosh, I won't blank on her name.
Maribel?
Yes, the main character Maribel. She's giving Antonio a gift, and she points with her lips like that. That's a cultural thing, and I was like, she did that. But anyway,
Yes.
little nuanced things like that. So
Yes.
yeah, main character. We're gonna talk about Maribel last.
Oh. Okay.
She's like the main character of the story. The story is essentially surrounding her. So she's like the center of it. So we're not gonna talk about her just yet, because we gotta talk about everybody else.
Okay.
Yes. So Maribel is actually one of the grandchildren. So yes, the abuela had 3 children, 2 girls and a boy. One of them, okay. So Maribel's mom was one of the.
It was Julieta, one of the twins.
Julieta. I'm glad you know names, because I don't. Julieta, and her gift was
healing through food.
Yes, she could heal people by giving them a meal.
Like she literally cooks soul food.
Oh snap!
Boom, boom. You're welcome. You're welcome.
I did not even think of that. Oh,
yes, I consider her kind of like the mothering figure. She's like home, like where you get that home cooked meal. She was chicken noodle soup
with a soda on the side.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So that was great. That was Maribel's mom, and then her aunt was that Peppa.
Yes, Peppa.
Now here's the thing. Sidebar. Some of these gifts not really useful.
Yeah, I would concur.
Yeah. So Peppa's gift was the mood. I mean, the weather reflected her mood. So that's like a gift and a curse.
Facts. You know who she reminds me of?
Who?
Elsa.
Yeah, but way more like Elsa her mood swings were not as dramatic. Peppa was dramatic.
No. When's the last time you saw Frozen?
Okay. Touche.
Elsa's mood springs. What is that? Mood swings were very dramatic.
See, okay. See, in my head, Peppa's like real telenovela, like, oh, I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I mean, different. Both of them allowed their anxiety to get the best of them, and because they were so anxious that their gift became overwhelming to them, and they felt like they were constantly suppressing their emotions. So then when some of them, when they couldn't suppress it anymore and it came out, it just came out, not in the way they wanted it to come out.
Come on now.
Yeah. I try every now and then I can pull something out.
That's absurd. That's literally how emotions work though. Cause
Mm-hmm.
I'm in therapy and whatnot. And but yeah, emotions work like that in real life. When you don't let them out in the moment, they just kind of hide until one day randomly you take the last tissue out the box and you have a complete breakdown. It was because of something else that happened before.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Peppa, gift, control the weather. All right. Oh, we forgot. We're jumping all over the place. And then there's Bruno. We don't talk about
Bruno. No.
We'll get back to him.
Who really isn't the main character of the show.
He is not. I don't know why the song was so popular, because I actually liked Louisa's song better. Pressure like a drip, drip, drip that never stops. Yes. Whoa. Louisa is Maribel's sister, and her gift was strength. Like, she was super strong. All right, now that one, there's always the strong one in the family, and I loved it in this movie. They portrayed her strength as like physical strength, like she literally picked up a bridge and moved it.
But I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say they portrayed her strength as physical strength, but there's always a strong one in the family that people always lean on and don't necessarily check on that person.
Exactly.
Check on your strong friend.
Like my thought, like the word that I used to express Louisa is like expectations. Everyone had all these expectations of her, and they were just weighing heavy on her. She literally was carrying the village on her shoulders, mentally and physically.
Yeah. You know what I thought about with her? Because she talked about how the chores were always piling up and it was like getting to her, and she's like, oh, maybe I'm carrying too much. But I was like, man, that's a misappropriation of her gift. Her gift was strength, not servitude. Like,
yes,
people were asking her to do stuff that they legitimately could have done on their own. They're like, oh, Louisa, the donkeys escaped. So she picks up the donkeys and puts them back in the barn. Y'all should have. That was ridiculous.
You go herd your own donkeys, exactly. Julio.
You could have got Julio.
Is that Rachel?
No, we're not. It's all fun here, kids. But yeah, they could have got like a herd of kids with some sticks to chase them donkeys back in. Well, maybe not, donkeys are stubborn, but that's not the point. The point is,
here we go having with poor Louisa with these donkeys on her shoulder.
Yeah, and they could have done it. There was a lot of things that they could have done to make it happen, but they just relied so heavily on her gift that nobody else lifted a finger. Literally. Right. Okay.
Dinner's ready.
Oh,
I said don't come in here.
Dinner's ready.
All right, tell Daddy I'm busy. Tell him to go ahead and eat.
Okay, so FYI, my sister has 2 kids. She has 2 kids who I love to refer to as thing 1 and thing 2.
Yes. My house is never quiet.
And that's okay. If you know, you know. We left off talking about gifts, and we had talked about Louisa's. The next person on my list was Isabella. She was Maribel's sister, and she was like portrayed as like the perfect one.
Right.
And again, like, the gifts that they were celebrating were not necessarily the gifts that people had. Like, they were celebrating Isabella as the perfect one. She really wasn't perfect. She had a green thumb. Like that was pretty much it. Like,
Right. And like, really, what was her? So she was seemingly perfect.
yeah,
And in her seemingly perfectness, she made colorful, beautiful, of all sizes
flowers.
flowers. Yeah.
Just flowers, roses and stuff. She always did roses because I don't know. Maybe she thought her gift was perfection. I don't know. Where did that come from?
Bruno told her.
Uh,
He told me. Remember, she came down and he told her that she was going to be perfect, and so she lived all her life trying to be perfect.
oh, she had the wrong
Until,
idea of perfect. Oh,
huh?
I said she just had the wrong idea of perfect.
Exactly.
Wow.
And exactly. And so, like, I guess finally, when she, in a rage, when she was mad at Maribel,
When she just let go.
yeah, when she let go, she created something that wasn't perfect. Well, I guess it was still perfect. It was a beautiful little cactus, I believe,
Yeah.
but just different from what she had thought perfection was. Essentially, she kind of found joy in imperfection, maybe freedom.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the struggle of being a perfectionist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when she let that go, she was actually able to create way more and was even happier.
Right, exactly. Like she was stifled.
Mm,
But mainly like Abuela like kind of forced the perfection on her was,
that's true.
and Abuela
It's
loved her
like
so what
as
loved her perfection. And then when she started making things that weren't roses, Abuela was kind of like, "What are you doing?" And she was
yeah,
like
and she
excited about,
blamed
"Look what I could do now." And Abuela's like, "Stop that."
she Abuela blamed Maribel. It was like, look at your sister.
Yes, I forgot about that.
Look what you've done. Like what?
Mm-hmm.
That was another thing I was gonna bring up about the movie that people, the family, the people in the village, they only saw the gift. They completely forgot about the human that embodied the gift.
Right.
Like Louisa, they
Agreed.
only saw her strength. They didn't worry about how she was feeling or anything. Isabella, they always thought she was just perfect and oh, you're so wonderful. Again, didn't care about her feelings or what she thought. She may not
Or
even
the guy who they wanted her to marry.
right.
She
They
didn't even like him.
didn't even like him.
She was just going with the flow because he was seemingly the perfect guy for her.
Right.
And that's who the family wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So in her constant strive or struggle for perfection,
And
she
people,
allowed them to dictate that on her, and she wasn't even happy.
yeah, perfection and people pleasing. And then
Ooh,
there's
people pleasing. She was a people pleaser.
they all were. They all were.
Yeah.
Even Bruno.
Yeah.
If you think about it, because he disappeared because he knew the family would not be happy with the vision that he had.
Right. So we moving to Bruno now?
Yes, we're going to Bruno now. Because
Okay.
he couldn't please them, he just, disappeared. Kind of.
Right.
And speaking of misappropriation of gifts, okay, spoiler alert. Bruno's gift was like seeing the future. So that's how he's portrayed. But really, his real gift was sand art.
He had a lot of time behind those walls.
It was just completely misappropriated. It was sand art.
That's funny.
But yeah, he tried so hard. He was so into people pleasing and he knew he couldn't do it. He just left.
Right. And
Yeah.
also he kind of left to protect them from themselves.
Yes, he did because okay, so here we're continuing with the spoilers. The climax of the movie is the house casita starts getting all these cracks, like huge cracks in the house, like it's about to fall
Fall
and
apart.
crumble, right? And Maribel could see it happening before it happened. And Bruno, even though he quote unquote disappeared, he was actually still there. He was trying to patch the cracks of the house from the inside.
He was just struggling all by himself, trying to hold the
Oh,
little family together.
yeah. Trying to fix the cracks from the inside before anybody else even saw them.
Right. and they're all running around singing "We Don't Talk About Bruno." He can hear them singing "We Don't Talk About Bruno." He's back there trying to clean up all the cracks and keep the family together, and they're over there bashing his name.
Wow. And you know what's crazy about that? And he,
What?
he was there, he heard it, but he loved the family even more than his own reputation.
Right.
Because
He came out unresentful.
yeah, and he ignored all that. He could have busted through that wall and vindicated himself, but he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
He was like,
Right.
it's better for me to be here patching the cracks from the inside than to even try to clear my name. Like it wasn't even that.
Right.
The
So
family important.
yeah, I guess so. Really, the family, they read too much into his predictions. I guess because his predictions were vague.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them were kind of ominous,
Mm-hmm.
and so they became afraid of him,
Mm-hmm.
basically. And so what do you do to something you're afraid of?
You shun it. You get rid of it.
Right. We're afraid of things we don't understand. They didn't
Mm.
understand him. They couldn't
Right.
understand what he was saying. So that's why they didn't talk about him, because they didn't understand him. That's why no one went into his room to go find him, except for Maribel.
Wow. And it's funny because his prophecies, they end up being more like self-fulfilling prophecies. Like he would say one thing, not even associated with a vision, and people would take it as like a prophecy and
Right.
actually make it happen. It's like on That So Raven, when she would see something, she would have a vision, and then she would try so hard to like not let it happen that she would actually make it happen.
Yeah. See, I don't think I can. Sidebar. I can honestly say I don't think I've ever seen an episode of That's So Raven.
What?
I know, but I got kids.
I know.
So I've seen Raven's Home.
So
I
okay.
feel like I watched it.
We'll let that pass. Okay, so speaking of useless gifts, I think we're gonna do these other two. They're the cousins.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about them real briefly. Dolores. She was the one that had like supersonic hearing.
Oh, she was just discretion. That's that word, right?
Discernment, maybe? No.
No, discernment. Yes.
Nah, she didn't know. She was nosy, but supersonic hearing. And the whole, the whole thing when Abuela got mad at the dinner and she was like, Mary Bell, you're messing with this family. Nah, it was Dolores running her mouth. If Dolores would
That's what I'm saying. She was the discretion among them because she was running her mouth.
I don't know that word. But her gift, like how is supersonic hearing helpful? Unless like you hear the British coming. I don't know how.
You're right. Ain't nothing good. So her supersonic hearing let her know too much information. And you know what? She was running her mouth, and loose lips sink ships.
Come on now.
She sunk Casita.
She did. And her brother, what's his name? Camilo?
Oh gosh, what, Camilo, I believe.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I just got his name. His name was like Camilo, and he was like chameleon because he could shapeshift and shape.
Oh, you're right. I didn't even think about that. That didn't even cross my mind.
I thought about it like this moment. But yeah. So he could shapeshift, right? He can make himself look like any other person. How is that useful?
I don't even know. Like I feel like his character was way underdeveloped, and he had no real purpose.
Right.
But maybe that was it.
What?
He was always somebody into everyone else. He didn't have his own sense of self.
Oh shoot!
I surprised myself sometimes.
That was good. I thought you were gonna say there was always a useless person in the family.
That too.
I didn't
Who that person is to be determined by.
I didn't mean that.
It's funny because it's true.
There was one part that that did seem useful, like in the song when Maribel was talking about the family. It was like a mother that had a baby, and she was like worn out, and the baby's like crying, and he shapeshifted to look just like the mother, and he took the baby, and he gave the mom a pillow, and mom took a nap.
Now on that token, I could have used a Camillo a few years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shoot, I need one now for them to come and top my head off.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, okay. Somewhat useful at times, I guess, maybe. Anywho, but
I
at the
don't
same
know.
time,
He was undeveloped, just like his sense of self. I have self proclaimed that, and I like it.
I like it too. We're gonna go with it. And then baby boy Antonio, who could talk to animals.
Yeah.
You know
I
what?
don't find that as anything all that spectacular.
Well, here's the thing. They needed to team up Antonio with Louisa. So when the donkeys get out, Antonio could be like, "Hey man, why don't y'all go on back in that
Facts.
barn?" And they can be like, "Antonio, we can't go back in the barn because there's a snake under the hay and we're scared." And he'd be like, "Oh," and he can go and be like, "Snake, leave these donkeys alone." And then they can go away, and then the donkeys will stay in the barn, and Louisa could have a break.
Look at you. You figured it all out.
I know, like
You figured it
Disney,
all the way out.
Disney, holla at your girl. Like I've got this taken care of.
And here I was just thinking his whole point was just because he was super cute and his room kind of looked cool, and I figured all the kids would like it.
I mean, yeah, that too.
Mm.
He was
But
adorable.
he, yeah, he was super cute. I don't. Maybe his gift was, to further develop. Not his gift, but his purpose was to further develop Mirabel's role, because the show, like, their relationship, because they shared the nursery, right?
Yeah,
And
I
so,
agree with
like,
that.
the two of them had a special bond, and she was the one who he ran to, confided in when he was nervous about going to receive his gift. And,
Right.
she accompanied him uh to the door to receive his gift. So maybe that was her. It was like part of her role was to show um how she cared, how even though she didn't get a gift, she was really excited about him getting his gift. Like, it was no saltiness there.
And the cool thing is, she gave him a gift before he got his official gift, right? She gave him a little stuffed tiger, and she's like, "Oh, I know you like animals. Here you go." It's like she recognized his
Yes.
gifting before anyone else did. Yo, oh, okay. Sidebar. Here
Yes.
you go. Go with me here.
Sidebar.
I'm thinking. I wonder if her giving her the tiger prompted the house to give him that gift. Like it was
Ooh.
like because okay, we're gonna get into it. Like, cause I think, and we talked about a little bit already, that the house was connected to Maribel, right?
Yes.
So okay, so Maribel, when she was 5 years old, she did not get a gift. So they thought. Dun, dun,
Right.
dun. Right. But so she was like supporting the family, even though she didn't have a special gift like everyone else. She was super supportive of everybody.
Right.
And yeah, and I had in my notes, I was thinking, sometimes the most important gifts are the ones that you don't see, or they're the ones that
Right.
looked. Like she supported everyone else in their gift. And
Right. Like, she looked like an outsider amongst the family of what,
magical
I guess they're not superpowers. What would their gifts be considered?
gifts. I don't
I
know.
guess, yeah, amongst the family with these gifts,
Special
but
ability.
like these outward gifts, but her gift was like from within.
Yes, it was, and it was what kept the family together. Her gift was like, um, she was the glue that held the family together. Like, that was her gift. Like she was the perfect co-star.
Right.
She was a supporting cast, behind the scenes, all of that. That was Maribel. In order to let everyone else shine,
Right.
she did that.
So when you asked me to do this with you, you specifically told me not to research. But I did
Mm.
Google what Encanto meant. Like,
Okay.
I thought from my, a little bit of Spanish. Thanks, North Myrtle Beach High School.
Encanto
Um,
blues.
yeah, I thought Encanto was something like magic.
Yeah, or enchantment or something.
Yeah. So when I Googled it's charm or enchantment.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the kicker. Encanto is also a term of endearment amongst some Spanish speaking country, which is for a kind or charming person. M-
So,
Marable is Encanto.
Dios mío.
Put it
So
all
the
together. Put that all together.
so the movie is essentially titled after Maribel's movie.
Right. Because like it's just like a little an charming name. I
Wow.
said an charming name. I made up a no word.
You know what I was
Give me my credit.
No, that's good. That's good. So she is Encanto. Huh.
Exactly. So like she didn't need a door. She didn't need a gift because she
Right.
is the gift. Like she is.
Oh, come through.
Oh, I thought you had an epiphany.
No,
Okay,
I
yeah.
felt no,
Oh,
I,
let
I
me.
felt I felt a word coming. I was about to say,
Yeah,
wait.
okay. Like she's her grandmother's successor, and
Mm-hmm.
she's the one who was holding the family together when everybody was struggling and falling apart. She was
Right.
running around trying to put them back together.
Right, that's true. And when people got their gift, they got their own door, right? And Maribel didn't get a door, but when they had to rebuild the house, like
She got the whole front
she
door.
got they put her doorknob in the front door, and like she got the whole house. So before, when she was 5, when no one thought she got a gift, it was the whole house.
She'd already had it.
It was already hers. You know
They
what?
didn't
Okay.
recognize her gift.
All right, so I got to get churchy for a minute. Here we go.
Do it.
So it made me think of the parable of the prodigal son.
Mm.
Okay, I should have looked it up before I did this. I think it's like Luke 15. Okay, so the prodigal son who essentially goes to the dad and says, "Hey, dad, I want my inheritance now." And dad's like, "All right, bet." So he gives him his inheritance. He goes away, goes to Vegas, spends up all his money, everything. It's in the Bible. It's there.
It's in the Bible. Okay.
He spends up all his money, his Bitcoin plummets. And then he gets home and he's like, you know what? I got to go back home because of me eating slop and my father's rich. So,
So I'm going to tell my
yeah,
father, I
I
done
done wrong.
wrong and father.
Yes, please let me come back
home.
So yeah, so he does, right? Father sees him, is all happy, throws a huge party, but people talk about that part, right? There's one part that most people
Always
don't
a
pay.
jealous one.
The brother. The brother was like, "Really? You threw a party for this ragamuffin after
This ninja?
yeah, after he took his money and spent it all up, and now you throwing him a party." But then the father was like, "Son, like everything that I have is already yours. Like you already own this. This has been yours. You've been with me this whole time. Yeah, I'm throwing a party for your brother, but after the party's over. Like you own all of this." And
Mm.
Big Bro didn't even know it. So that's kind of like Maribel's gift. It looks like everyone else is being celebrated, right? Everyone else is like having a party. Everyone else has got the fatted calf killed for them. But not even realize that Maribel owned the herd. Woo!
Ooh, look at you. You just brought that thing home.
So, yeah.
I'm going to be honest, though. I did think that when the brother was jealous, I thought the father was going to say, son, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I thought that's what you were going to say.
But okay, I like it though.
I kid.
In which translation was this? This is a new.
It's the new.
Oh,
the King James version.
Right. It's the Kicking It with Colette version.
Yes.
KIWC version of the Bible.
That one.
Right. Okay. you mentioned this already about Maribel being Abuela's successor. So Abuela knew that the house was like cracking. She knew that there was trouble in the camp, but she tried to hide it.
Wow.
Yeah, and the thing about it, everyone was supposed to use their gift to like help the family and help the community, right?
Mm-hmm.
But everyone was still cracking under the pressure because you can't help someone that's not honest about where they need the help. Mm. So,
Preach.
so it so things were still falling apart. So no matter how many donkeys Louisa carried,
Oh my God.
stuff it still wasn't
Get
working.
your own donkeys, Jorge.
But yeah, so the family had to be honest about where they really were in order for like the cracks to be repaired. And Abuela just kept hiding it, you know? There's always one.
Yes.
There's always one in the family.
Oh, you came through. You came through, sister.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was a lesson.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Sarah Jakes, her podcast starts and it says, God can't bless who you pretend to be. He only blesses you in a land that he created for you.
Mm.
So yeah, so the family, they couldn't, as much as they tried, they still couldn't keep it together because they weren't honest about what was really going on.
Mm.
Even like Isabella and the guy she was supposed to marry, she didn't want to marry him, but Dolores actually did like the dude.
Mm-hmm.
If everybody would have been honest, they maybe wouldn't have had that disastrous dinner party. You know?
Yes.
So in season 2, I decided I'm gonna do a life hack every episode. And you told me a life hack last week or so.
So I don't know if many of you out there in podcast land like yourself a good roasted chickpea. I like roasting chickpeas in the oven, but they bust all over the place and they explode and it's a mess.
Mm-hmm.
Rub the skin off the chickpeas. No more explosions. And you're welcome.
Boom. Yeah. So basically, you take the peeling. I guess the heat gets up on. I'm about to be scientific. The heat and the moisture gets between the skin of the chickpea and the pea itself, and that's where the explosion happens. But if you take the peeling off, no explosion.
You saved your oven.
Right, because then they pop. It's not like popcorn with a delightful little pop. No, it sounds like
it's splatter.
And it sounds like something's exploding. And then they fall to the bottom of the oven and they burn. And it's just a mess.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Take the skins off. Boom. Happy roast.
You're welcome. I mean, it is a little time consuming.
Right, but so is cleaning an oven.
Right. Save the elbow grease.
So, anything else you wanted to say, sister?
We didn't talk about the toxicity. You know what I'm trying to say. Thank you. You of Abuela. Or did we? Did we?
No, we didn't, because no, go ahead. You go ahead. I just didn't, honestly, I didn't know what to say.
Oh, because I really don't have a word for it. I was prompting you.
Okay.
But like everyone was trying to please her to their own detriment.
Yes.
Like they were trying so hard to appease Abuela that they weren't happy with themselves. They were fighting amongst each other. They were whispering and gossiping, and Bruno hid in the wall, y'all.
Talking to rats. Yeah, and I don't know. I guess to me, I almost feel like it's a generational thing.
Yes.
Where people feel like they have to be a certain way, fit in a certain box, and look a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
I think more so recently, like people are normalizing therapy now, right?
Right.
And realizing that there's generational traumas in every family. And at some point, we've got to stop the madness.
Right.
And I think, Abuela, to me, represents that old school, that prim and proper, this is how things are, this is how we do things, this is how we do tradition, this is how
Right.
this is how
Traditions.
yeah, this is how we save face. Like, we always have to
Yes. And she wanted to look good for the townspeople.
exactly.
They were putting on a show.
Yes. She's always like, the magic is a strong.
Say it again.
No. But yeah, that was always what she would say, even though she knew the house was cracking.
Mm.
She knew that things were falling apart, but she didn't want to, face it.
Yeah.
And that's the crazy thing. So the rest of the family is dancing around her, tippy-toeing on eggshells, trying to make sure everything is good, even though she already knew it wasn't good.
Is she the one who cracked the dog on eggshell?
Right. She knew. So if she would have just been honest, everybody else could have breathed a sigh of relief also.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to keep everything perfect to appear perfect to the person who knows it's already broken. What the heck? What in the world?
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
But that's real. That's what people
It
really are doing.
It is so real. Yeah.
Release the pressure. Save yourself.
Grow a cactus.
And grow a cactus. Yes. I like that. I was like used to that. Grow a cactus.
Right. And herd your own donkeys.
Get your own donkeys, Consuela. Let me stop.
You change the name every time. I hope you realize that.
Yeah, see, the second time when I changed the name, it was because I forgot what name I used the first time. Then after I said the name, I was like, that's not what you said before. So I felt like I had to keep up with the trend for the third time.
See, we just talked about this, Christen. Let it go. You don't have to keep up the pressures.
Okay. I'm gonna go grow a cactus.
Right. Oh man. Okay. I think I will tie this back into the love episode what I talked about last week. Not last week. Last episode.
Right.
So
that was a good episode on love. If you haven't listened to it, you need to go listen to it.
Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So last episode I talked about love, and I talked about the 4 types of love, and one of them being storge, which I didn't talk about much, but that is like familial love, like love between families, love between people groups, love between people with a commonality. And so this Encanto is a good example of storge. Like, people were trying so hard to keep up the appearances, all in the name of a storge love, because everybody wants to feel that sense of belonging. And the storge is also the most common type of love. Any thoughts on that?
Oh, I was listening to you. You were teaching me.
Oh no, that's pretty much it. I didn't have anything deep on that yet, but it's just a recognition of that's the
kind of love the family exhibited.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Even though it was scratched and dented,
Yeah. As love is.
Ooh, it's messy.
Love is messy.
It's messy, but you know what? Even though it's messy, because the magic is strong, but
and so are the drinks.
Yes, but the love was strong, and even though it was messy, because it was love and it was there, it withstood the crumbling of the house. Like, even when everything fell apart,
yes,
it was still there.
That's storge love. Did I say it right?
That's right, and it still allowed them to rebuild, because that familial love was there, and it wasn't just a family; it was a whole community. That
right.
Love permeated through the whole community.
Right. Even though we kind of bashed Abuela, even though we were talking about Abuela and how she put the pressures on everyone,
right?
She was also the one who brought the family and the community together. Like, the community was so important to her. She was subconsciously sacrificing her family to try to provide this love for the community.
Right. I mean, in a way, she was successful because
Yeah, for sure.
when everything fell apart, the
They came a
community was
running.
they was right there. All of a sudden, they know how to pick things up. Louis, all right.
Get your own donkeys.
I feel like that's gonna be the episode title.
Juanita.
But yeah, so that's good. So even though love, like we said, love is messy, life is difficult, but because they had that community that Storge loved, they were able to overcome anyway.
Yes.
Yes. All right.
You wrapped that up nice.
Thank you. This has been fun, sister.
Yeah, it has been fun. We shall do it again.
Yeah, I have to bring you back for another episode. Thank you for tuning in to the Kicking It with Colette podcast. You've listened to me. Now I'd love to hear from you. If you're listening through the Anchor app, you can leave me a voice message and I may just play it on the air, with your permission, of course. If you're shy on the mic, just DM me on Instagram at 1-800-_Colette. That's 1-800-_COLETTE. This podcast was written, recorded, edited, and produced by yours truly, all on an iPhone 6. So click that listener support button so your girl can get an upgrade. Thanks for kicking it with me. Bye now.
Go herd your own donkeys,
Exactly.
Julio.